everyone, welcome back to Power Up Headlines, your go-to for the biggest news in gaming. Today, we've got a major story brewing in the world of game development, straight from the front lines of Warhammer 40,000, Space Marine 2. The CEO of Saber Interactive, Matthew Karch, just dropped a massive commentary that's stirring up conversation across the industry. We're talking about game design, messaging, and the direction of modern gaming. You don't want to miss this. So, here's the scoop. Karch, who's leading development on Space Marine 2, recently confirmed a comment he made on a YouTube video posted by popular streamer Asmongold. In this comment and later, on LinkedIn, he talked about the frustration he's been feeling with some games under the Embracer Group. According to him, many of these games have been pushing overblown attempts at messaging or trying to impose moral lessons on players. Now, this is a pretty big deal. Karch is essentially calling out the modern trend in gaming where studios focus more on social or political messaging, often overshadowing core gameplay. What's fascinating is that this sentiment isn't just from fans, but from a high-ranking developer. He's criticizing an industry that's increasingly valuing complex narratives and moral lessons, rather than creating fun, engaging gameplay experiences. In Space Marine 2, Saber Interactive is leaning hard into what Karch describes as a return to the fun, addictive gameplay inspired by classic titles like Halo. No convoluted messaging, no moral sermons, just straight-up, action-packed gameplay that gamers can lose themselves in. According to Karch, this is the direction he believes the gaming industry should be heading. Karch specifically mentioned Halo, which is renowned for its simple yet incredibly satisfying combat mechanics. He believes games like Space Marine 2 should be centered around this idea of pure, immersive fun where the mechanics and gameplay loops speak for themselves, without the need for added moral complexity. But here's where things get even more interesting. Karch didn't stop at just praising Space Marine 2. He voiced his concerns about the broader development approach at Embracer Group, where he feels some of the games in the pipeline are too focused on messaging and not enough on creating a fun experience. His exact words, "Some of these games made him want to cry." That's a bold statement coming from someone in such a prominent position. Karch's criticism suggests that the industry is investing heavily in trying to push social and moral narratives, often with massive budgets, while missing the point of why many people play games in the first place, to have fun. He even hinted that these approaches may be to blame for some of the challenges facing larger game publishers today, including financial losses or game failures. So, what does this mean for gamers? It looks like Karch is drawing a line in the sand, advocating for a shift back to simpler, more accessible gameplay mechanics, games that prioritize fun over messaging. In fact, he even pointed to titles like Black Myth, Wukong, and Space Marine 2 as prime examples of this old-school approach. These games, according to Karch, show the way forward, highlighting the importance of polished, immersive experiences without overcomplicating things with layered, heavy-handed narratives. He's hoping this sparks a shift in how games are made, especially as titles like Space Marine to build up massive hype ahead of launch. But the question remains, is Karch right? Should the industry pivot back to focusing purely on gameplay? Or is there still room for these larger narratives and moral discussions in gaming? Is it possible to strike a balance between both worlds? This conflict is huge right now. While some developers and gamers love the deeper storytelling and moral complexity that games offer today, others like Karch are calling for a return to form. And honestly, it's not just the developers feeling this. Look at the success of simpler, more arcade-style games in recent years, whether it's shooters like Doom Eternal or Cuphead with its focus on challenging gameplay. Whatever side you're on, one thing's for sure, the conversation is only going to grow louder. With Space Marine 2 launching soon and potentially setting a new standard for action-packed gameplay, we might just see more studios embrace this back-to-basics approach. We can't wait to see what's next. So, what do you all think? Are you on board with Matthew Karch's vision of games that prioritize fun over narrative? Or do you think there's still a place for story-driven games with social commentary? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more news, updates, and analysis on all things gaming.